everybody. I hope you can see us and hear us. I'm a little out of breath because we were rushing around at the last minute here. I was getting everything together here. We just got back about an hour ago from the retreat, and yeah, trying to unpack everything. I hate that about retreats, trying to unpack everything in there. So anyways, we are going to talk about it, and we've got some things to show you about it. So this edition of live is all going to be about the retreat and why we're probably not going to another one. Oh, that's a little teaser, isn't it? But anyways, we'll come to that. So hi, Wendy. Wendy says, waiting with bated breath to hear about the weekend. And March Ann, hi March Ann, can't wait to hear how the retreat went. Laura, hi Laura. Same with me, looking forward to hearing about the retreat. Andy's here, hi Andy. Hi everyone, waiting to hear about the retreat. Milo Sanders, hi Milo from the UK. Nice of you to join us. Marlene is here. Wendy says, I hope they are not tired and will be on to let us know how everything went. Well, we're here, and I'm assuming everybody can see us and hear us okay. So let us know if that's the case or if that's not the case. Hi Marilyn. Hi Mary, or Marie, I mean, from Pennsylvania. Hello Fidel. For once he's not late, he says. Yes, that is right, Fidel. We almost were. And Jennifer's here. Hi Jennifer. So I'm assuming that everybody can see us and hear us okay. Yes, somebody give me a thumbs up or whatever if you can see it. Don't forget to hit the like button while you're at it. Oh, Eddie's here. Hi Eddie. Hi Cheryl. We're going to talk about that too, Eddie, and we have some pictures to show you. Unfortunately, we don't have any video, but we'll talk about that too. And Mark Chance is loud and clear here in Florida, and Laura can see us and hear us too, so that's great. Okay, there'll probably be some more people joining us, so they'll just have to catch up on things because we're going to get right into the retreat. Okay, just to let you know about the preamble to the retreat. Of course, it started Thursday afternoon, this past Thursday afternoon. We could arrive anytime from 1 o'clock on. We were there right at 1 o'clock, and we got into the hall. And what this place is, it's a Christian Bible camp, trailer park.
No, a Christian
resort.
Resort, I guess. I guess it's like it's a summer camp, I guess. They're only usually open in the summer, and they sometimes cater to quilt groups in the winter time.
Could you speak up?
Quilt groups in the winter time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, well, you have a tendency to talk way down
To mumble, yeah.
Yeah, well, don't mumbles. Yeah, so there's trailers all parked there, which people come to. I don't know if they have some trailers they rent for this, or these are permanent. Well, they look permanent installations.
Yeah, well, sure. Probably like anything.
Hi, Jeannie.
They rent the land that it's on, type of thing. You know, they have a spot, right? Because like that's how trailer parks work, right?
Okay.
You know?
Well, I don't know. I was never in a trailer park, so do I look like trailer park trash?
Then I guess they have some hotels and some accommodation there, and some little cottages that you can rent too in the summertime that are a rental part of the property. Yeah.
And they have like a dining room area, and they cater meals there. They serve you, and they have sort of like a motel section too. It's not bad. It's basically no frills, no thrills, but you know, it's a clean room. They have kitchenettes in the ones that we stay in, so, and with pots and pans and a full-size refrigerator and running water and all that kind of stuff. So I guess if you came up and you want to stay there for a week in that accommodation, you'd be able to do that and cook your own meals if you wished. You know, it's all very clean. They've just done some revamping of it over COVID time since the last time we were there. And
like they were still finishing up the hall. They have a hall that they use, well, sort of like a hall / church. They use it as a church, I guess, and they'll set it up for church on Sundays, I suppose.
Yeah.
And during the summer, I think. And
we're buffering. Oh, no, maybe we're okay.
And then in the wintertime, they've got it. They use it as a big hall for like sewing and stuff like that. So, they had revamped all of that, and they put in new lighting, so it was nice and bright in there for us. So
yeah, so it's actually a good facility for this kind of thing. Patsy says, hey guys, didn't get my notification that you were on live. Yeah, Patsy, that's because we didn't send out a notification because we just got back. We got back at about 3 o'clock, and I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off because we had a whole ton of stuff, which we'll talk about, to get unloaded, and we took everything but the kitchen sink. But anyways, that's what the place is like. And we got there at 1 o'clock and went into the church hall slash sewing area. And tables were all set up for us and everything. And we got our stuff out. And because we've been there before, we know the routine. So, you know, you unpack your stuff, you get your sewing machine set up, you pull out your projects, you get your area organized and whatnot. And then you go in and check into your room and try to get that a little bit organized as well for everything, and then come back and start to sew until dinner time, which they serve 3 meals a day: breakfast at 8:30 in the morning, lunch at 12:30, dinner at 5:30. There is a ton of food, but it's not great.
Somewhat mediocre.
It's, well, put it this way, they kill a vegetable. We had asparagus. They had their famous roast beef dinner. Now, there are people, maybe we're picky, and maybe we're used to something a little bit, oh, it sounds snotty, but better. I mean, and so they always serve on the last day of the retreat at lunch, because everybody goes home on the Sunday, right after lunch, and lunch is at 12:30, as I said, and they always serve a roast beef dinner, and as they put it, with all the fixins, which means there was mashed potatoes and gravy and horseradish and roast beef, Yorkshire pudding, kind of a thing, and for dessert, a lovely apple pie, or what was the other choice? Mousse.
Yeah, butterscotch.
Butterscotch mousse pudding. Okay, except for our friends in UK, when we say pudding, we don't mean all desserts, we mean pudding. I don't know how much to put it there, but
custard.
Well, it's not really custard.
Yeah, it's sort of like a,
well, whatever,
like
Jello 1 2 3. Anyways, it's edible. It's not horrible or anything like that.
Sort of like
cafeteria style food. But oh my God, they served it with asparagus and carrots this afternoon, like with the roast beef. The asparagus looked like they've been backed over by a truck several times. At least if you had a delicate system and you needed soft food to digest, there would have been no problem whatsoever.
Well, mind you, some of the people in that age group that was there needed soft food.
But we knew it was going to be like that, and we're not going there for the food.
I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't gourmet either. So.
Yeah, I'm just going to say hello to a few people that joined us on here. Hello, Patsy. I already said that. No, YouTube, Patsy doesn't send out notifications. When I send out a notification, it comes from me. Yeah, Laura, cafeteria like food. Hi, Jan, and hi, Em. So anyways, we weren't there for the food to start with, and there was plenty to eat. We had taken a pile of munchies, and we brought home a pile of munchies, because they always have a snack table. But because of COVID restrictions, and really, I hate to say it, and I hope nothing bad happens out of this, but because Ontario has lifted most of the restrictions, and that, you know, you were supposed to keep your mask on except when you were at your sewing machine, but when you're going up and if you were going around and talking to other people in the hall, you know, you're supposed to have your mask on. Yeah, we tried that for the first 10 minutes, and then everybody just sort of gave up on it and didn't do it anymore. They were supposed to social distance us in the dining room, but now that that restriction's been up, there were 6 at a table. We were right next to each other. So checking out how well that vaccine works right now. Now, everybody there had to be at least double, maybe triple vaxxed. And the average age of the group was, well, we were probably on the low end of the scale, if that gives you any indication.
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And more power to them, because there were some some ladies there that were in their 80s.
Yeah, there's a couple of walkers anyway.
Yeah,
so.
But they were managing. They were doing fine, and they lugged all their stuff up there and the whole bit. So, you know, I got to give them credit for that. I hope I'm still as spry as that at 80 or whatever. So anyways, yeah, the restrictions kind of went out the window. Now, the help, the staff that were waiting on us, they plated the food. Usually it was a buffet style that they always did, but now they plated the food. And that's one reason why there were mass quantities, because they started off by saying, do you want a regular or a small or an extra large? but that died after the first
Yeah, I
day.
know.
And everybody was getting, I think, pretty much regular, and it was a lot of food.
Yeah.
And 3 meals a day with the mass quantities of food. Like, I didn't even go down and have a brekkie this
Actually,
morning.
I didn't go breakfast any day.
Well, you weren't out of bed.
Well,
But
I could have gone down there, but I really wasn't hungry, and I don't eat breakfast that much anyway. So
Cheryl says, "Oh no, Steve, watch out for the B word. You're going to hear it again. Sorry." Sorry, it's just going to come up. I just know it, and we'll tell you why. But oh, hi, Barb. But anyways, so did we get a lot done? Well, I got a quilt top done pretty much. I'm going to show it to you in a few minutes. Walter got a couple of shirts
almost done.
almost done. But before we show you that, then a little bit more about how the thing went. They did have a snack table. They usually do at these things. People usually bring something and you share it. And you just, anytime you want to graze on something, you go to it. But this year the restriction was it should all be individually wrapped, like prepackaged kind of stuff. Or you just bring your own thing. Well, we just took our own thing. We didn't bother with the snack table.
I didn't bother. And during the day, I wasn't really all that hungry. So
No, coffee. There was always lots of coffee in that. They had a Keurig up there, so you know you could do a K cup thing and whatnot. Yeah, the facility itself where we were doing stuff, although it's still sort of under construction for renovations, the lighting was much
like
much
I
better.
brought an ot light with me, but I never used it because I didn't really feel I needed it. It was really bright in the hall.
Yeah. Patsy says, "Did you sew all night?" Could have if you wanted to. Actually, we did sew into first night. I think we left around 11.
Yeah, and then the next 2 nights we kind of quit at 10.
Yeah.
Well, Saturday I was really tired, so.
Well, I was surprised that I stayed awake long enough to concentrate on doing that. But yeah, pretty much you could have if you wanted to. And I started sewing again. I'd get up and go into the hall. Brekkie was at 8:30, but I'd go over to the hall for about 7 o'clock or a little thereafter and get in, an hour or so of sewing before we went off to Brekkie. And then I'd come back after Brekkie and make sure he was up, and away we'd go. So that was really how each day went. Lots of chatter, everybody talking and sharing their ideas and things. And then, of course, we were the fun boys. We were the facilitators of the programming. So we had, I was a little disappointed in the selection of what we had for giveaways this year. Past years that we've gone, they've been a little better, okay? And this is stuff that basically the store, because it's sponsored by the quilt store, right? They provide these things. But Walter opened up his bag first, the swag bag that they gave us, and said, "Oh, we got this the last time." And it's basically stuff that's not selling in the store. It's very nice of them to give that to us, but I have a whole pile of this stuff, so I'm going to be able to give prizes out maybe at my next retreat that I have virtually, but I have to mail it. So
how many attended?
There's 26, counting Walter and myself, and Donna. Donna's the hostess with the mostest who put the whole thing together. So actually it was a good size, I thought, because at one point they were talking about the possibility of having up to 50. And if there'd been 50 in there, just on even regardless of restrictions with COVID and the whole bit, it would have been, and it's a huge hall, but quilters take up a lot of space, and you need a lot of space when you're working on a quilt as well. So it would have been really kind of cramped. So I thought the number was just right, really, for it.
Yeah, actually.
Because we had lots of room, lots of space, and so that was a good thing. We were not the only men either. There was another gentleman. We did not know him at all, but he came to it, and he was doing some stuff that was really he's only been quilting for 2 years, but he was doing a very modern quilt, his own design. It was very abstract. He was basing it upon he told me the artist's name, and I don't remember who the artist was, but it was a lot of it was like color blocking, if you know what I mean by that term, like squares and rectangles and things put of color. And it was all done in solids. So he was using black, white, red, and a pop of yellow here and there. And it was just a small quilt. It would be actually more of a wall hanging. but he did get it finished today, at least the top of it, and he sort of hung it up on one of the boards, and we all got to take a look at it. It was kind of interesting. Um, Not my cup of tea, but whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it's a type of color block. I saw. I sort of know the kind of art that it is, but I couldn't remember what he said it was for what the artist was.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the artist. He was actually making it. It's going to be a gift for his sister. I guess he lives with his sister, and his sister's into bag making. He was showing us some pictures what his sister's made, and of course she did those. If you know of the concept, I was always going to do one, never did. You know, salvages from your fabric, and you make bags out of them. And I was saving a lot of salvages, and when I had one of my minor cleanouts, figured, am I ever going to get to this? And I just kind of tossed them. And he was collecting more salvages there, anybody that was cutting fabric and to take to his sister. It was kind of interesting. They were nice bags. I really liked the look of them, but he was showing everybody that. You'd almost think that his sister should have been there. Really. Yeah. But anyways, it was nice to have another man. You know, our numbers had increased. 3 of us out of 26 people, 3 men.
He was a little older than us. Not
yeah,
much,
not
5
much.
years.
Well, he's 71. He said he was 71. So good for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I figure anybody who can get out there, the older you get, I think they're a good role model for when we get to that age, and we're not that far off. So, did I say hello to Billy? Hi, Billy. So yeah, we'll talk about the 3D things too in a minute. Oh, there's so many things to talk about, and I'm trying to keep it organized. So anyways, that's how the days went. So let's show you some of the things what we made. So you show them your shirts.
Yeah, okay. So I made 2 shirts. I still have to put the buttons on them and hem them. I mean, being there, I wasn't working too fast because there's a lot of distractions there. Plus, one of the shirts I made a major boo-boo on, and I had to fix it.
And he was swearing a storm right up there, and we're in a Christian facility. So that'll get you.
That slowed me down a bit. So, because I was hoping to get at least 3 shirts done, but didn't get that far. So, these are my 2 shirts that I made. They're both short sleeve. Okay, where is this? Here.
I don't know.
Here's a blue one, and one with green leaves or blue leaves and green background.
Now, can you spot the pockets? Show it there.
Here's my pocket is on this side. There's a pocket there, right here, and on that one, and on this one. My pockets here, right there. So I did very careful pattern matching on the pockets. So
yeah, the pockets are completely invisible, and the ladies were really impressed because they were coming over and checking out his progress on this, and couldn't believe that they couldn't find the pocket. Play a little game, find Walter's pocket, Walter's magic disappearing pockets with it. So yeah, so that's what you worked on. Now, I worked on, well, first of all, I had planned, I took 4 kits. I pre-cut fabric and everything for 4 different patterns. I knew I wasn't going to get to all 4, but I thought, well, if I get bored with one, I can, you know, move on to the next one kind of a thing and back and forth. Well, that didn't happen. I started on one that is my own design, and I've been working on it for the last week here at home. And I remember saying to myself, okay, I have 2 different blocks in it, but in total it's going to have like 16 very large 15.5-inch blocks. And I said to myself when I packed half of them in my kit that, you know, don't forget the other half because they were hanging up on my bookcase over there. Guess what I did? I forgot them. So I'm working away on some of the half square triangles, making those up. I want to start making the blocks, and I went, oh crap, I don't have the other blocks there. And I couldn't remember which way the squares, the half square triangles went. So I thought, and I had taken a picture of it, as I always do, as a reference. As I work through quilts, I always take a picture. So, but of course, just before we went on the retreat, I decided to take all of my pictures and videos off my camera and back them up to my computer because I want to make sure I had lots of space on my camera for video and pictures of the weekend. So I did not have a picture. I even tried to tap into my cameras here at home that I have in this room, and I could see it with one of the cameras, but I couldn't get close enough, and the colors were close enough that I couldn't tell. So I didn't take a chance on putting the blocks wrong. So I started on this other one. And this other one, I think I've shown it on the Idiot Quilter as far as the pattern's concerned. It's called, and it's going to be hard to show because it's big. It's called Showering Stars. Now, I haven't squared this up yet. Here, actually, if you stand over here on this side of it, you could help me hold it up. So I don't know how well you can see this. Back up a bit, Walter. Can't get the whole thing in because it's about 90 inches long, but it gives you an idea of what I'm talking about here as well. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And black fabric dragging on a floor in a big hall ends up getting a lot of dust on it. So this one will have to be washed when I get the whole thing done. Well, I'd wash it anyways. But yeah, I'm happy with the way it turned out. It's kind of a modern style. Okay, you let go of it. I'll just throw it in. Go sit down. Sit. So that was pretty much what I accomplished during the 3 days we were there. And as Walter said, there's a lot of distractions when you're at something like this because you're talking to other people, you're looking at what other people are doing, and then you always have people who come to you and they want to ask you about this or that or the other thing. And so yeah. So what are people saying? Just back it up here for a second before we go on, just to make sure we haven't missed anybody. Patsy says your shirts are awesome. Marilyn loves them too. March likes them. Great pattern matching, Walter. Laura says her favorite is the green and blue leaf shirt. And well, Barb, I can't hear you laughing. So I didn't know way. I don't care. Hi, Kathy. It's lovely. Thanks. Jeannie, beautiful shirts, Walter. Barb says, very nice, Stephen. It looks great. Beautiful quilt top. Very nice, very nice. Stephen is so excited to tell us how things went. Your enthusiasm is awesome, Stephen. Yeah, I'm still kind of on a high from it. Yes, under the needles. Oh, it's Shonda. How are you doing, Shonda? From under the needle. Yeah, that's the Robin Pickens one. Yeah, she's got some really interesting patterns. I may do another one of hers at some point. Thanks, Jeannie. Thanks, Laura. Oh, what about your robotics? You're jumping ahead, Fidel. Hang on to that question, and we'll get to that. The quilt reminds me of the First Nations of Canada.
Not really.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. I hadn't thought of that, but when you do put it that way, I could see that too, Eddie. Anyways, I managed to do that. And that's... So, Saturday night, we had the production number, right? Now, we had pop-up scavenger hunts. Well, basically, like I said, the first person that could show me a red... Oh, this was not a disaster. I want to take back their quilting license for some of them. And one of the ones says, I asked someone to show me an applique foot for your sewing machine. They all looked at me like deer in headlights. They did not know what an applique foot was. And what was even more ironic was several of them were doing applique
at the time.
And it was like I had just shown them the second coming of Christ, which would have been appropriate in this setting, with it, because they all want to see how this thing worked and why it was good for applique. So I pulled out the applique foot and was showing them with it. So I imagine that Ultimate Sewing now is going to have a run on applique foots when they saw that. And they cheat. Oh, they would cheat. Now, mind you, I kind of encouraged it. But like I asked for a red friction pin. They were trying to pass off magenta and orange. And I went, because they won tickets for this. And they also got to pick from the prize bin, which was basically a whole pile of pattern books and some patterns. There was my stuff that went pretty much right off the bat, the 3D stuff that I've already shown you that I made, and that was to answer, I think it was Patsy asked how that was went over. Well, they love those. They especially love they love the pin cushions. They all got one of those in the thimble when they arrived, and my gnome cell phone holders, sticky note holders, those seem to be a big hit as well. So yeah, that stuff all went. But I was a little, and I said this before and coming back to it, I was a little disappointed in the prizes this year. I think Donna had some trouble getting them. Usually she goes to suppliers for the store and they give her all kinds of stuff. This year, well, she basically brought a big basket of quilting books and things that for out of her personal stash that she no longer wanted, and people could, pick one of those for a prize. I was a little disappointed in that. And then the prizes for the auction, they were a little lame.
Well, they were a little lame last year too.
Well, I thought there was more variety.
2 years ago, I said.
It was mostly just pieces of fabric that were just remnants, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was a little disappointed in that. But they seemed to be happy, so that was all that mattered. Doesn't matter whether I'm happy or not with it. As long as the people there were happy, fine. So we did our show. And okay. We were hoping to have video of this. We do not. I gave my cell phone to Donna, and she had a problem. Now
she's sitting there happily videoing,
thinking it was on.
Thinking it was on, but I guess she must not have hit the button.
And that's easy enough to do because I've done it. So, this is no criticism of Donna at all. So we don't have any video. But what we do have are some pictures we took before we went to the event. So I'm going to put these up here for you.
They're a little scary.
They're scary. If you have a weak heart, beware. I'll just get the first one up here, and let's go to screen. Okay, let's see if we can blow that one up a little bit. Yeah. So when we came on, this is Matilda Mudslinger in all her beauty. She's had some face work done. Just got back from Brazil, had a facial, or not facial, a Botox injection or two, and a smile enhancement. And glad ass happy bum. Oh, we're having the glad ass.
You don't have the other one pictures.
I thought I did.
That list, so.
Oh, I got two. Okay. Anyways, here's the two of them. Glad ass happy bum. It's a little grainy. I'm sorry. It looks a little greeny. It might not be so much on their end. But anyways, there we are, the sisters. It looks like one sister lost a leg. The one-legged sister. Nice lips. And here's a scary close-up. Those masks are just hideous. Actually, mine, Matilda's, looks evil. You kind of look just stunned.
Yeah.
And you can see our fascinators and everything in this one too, as well. And what we did was, this is sort of a last minute thing before we left the day before. I printed out these postcards and gave them out as we walked up the aisle after we had our little intro video. We walked up and handed these out to everybody, and keep on quilting, love Matilda Mudslinger, and glad ass happy bum. So they all had the little card. They all thought it was a screen. And then we let me just flick out of this. And where are we here? So it was funny. We played a couple of games with them, and I had made a video as well. And I can't really show it to you because I don't have it on the computer at the moment. And also I don't know. Well, they said I could show things, so I guess I could show it. I might put it up maybe next week on So Chatty, and maybe organize some of the pictures and things a little better as well for you. As I said, we just got home, so this is kind of like doing it off the cuff sort of a thing. And what are people saying about all that? Let's go back up. Laura says, I wonder if the supply issues in the world had an effect on the prize this year.
Very possible.
It's very possible. There could have been some other reasons too, but I'm not going to get into those. But anyways, it's still, there was stuff. It was nice. And they had a little store set up. And I'm going to show you some of my purchases that I made in the store. But they had some problems with their electronic debit machine. This place, they supposedly have an upgraded Wi-Fi system, but it was giving us all a lot of problems at the beginning of the weekend. And we eventually were able to figure out how to get things to connect properly. So everybody was coming to us with their iPads and their phones for us to get them connected. But we could not solve, or Donna could not solve the problem with her point of sale system. And, you know, every year that they've had a retreat there, they've always had a problem with the point of sale. So basically Donna said, well, just when you're in the store next, just, you know, pay for it then. But then she said today, you could do it by e-transfer. So that's how I paid for my stuff. I just did it by e-transfer. That was easy with that. And maybe, I said to her, maybe that's something for the future. You should consider just do it all by e-transfer. Of course, there may be some of them that don't know how to do e-transfer, so that would be a problem.
Well, not only that, there may also be people that buy some stuff that's too much money and they don't have it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, they still took cash, and there were some people that brought cash, and they could handle that as well. I mean, I don't use cash anymore, so.
No, I just meant they had offered sewing machines, a couple of sewing machines for sale. So somebody may want to put that on a credit card.
But mind you, the group that's there are all regular clientele pretty much of Ultimate Sewing, so they can be pretty much trusted. I mean, Donna could write down the stuff on it, take it into the store, and then the next time the people are in, I'm sure I don't think anybody would be trying to rip the store off.
No.
Because this crowd is very, very, well, they're regulars, you know, kind of a thing. So everybody knows them. So what are people saying? Pretty sure it's Walter. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Hilarious. Yep. Kind of scary actually, those costumes. Hi Angel. Kathy says it's cute.
Needs to wax her chin. Yeah.
What's that? Gladys needs to wax her chin. Yeah. They look like they might be related to Dame Edna. Yeah, the glasses, right? Was that Barb says that Laura Oldie's comment is so rude, laugh out loud.
Needs to wax her chin.
Oh. I know, poor Gladass, yeah. Well, you know, Gladass is only one trip on the short bus away from complete insanity. So, who knows? But anyways, it was a lot of fun. I think the ladies had a good time on the Saturday night. We did the auction. Oh my God. I thought I had this auction thing figured out. The last time we did it, they earned tickets throughout the weekend. And then you use the tickets and you put them in a bag that's in front of an item that you want. And you can put in, if you've got 20 tickets, you can put all 20 tickets in the bag. Or you can put in one or two, spread it out, whatever. And then we pull a ticket out of the bag. And whoever has that ticket wins that auction prize. And there were enough prizes so everybody would get something. It may not have been the thing you really wanted the most of, but you'd get something. Okay? Well, the first time we ever did this, we did it with the numbers on the tickets. Well, the numbers were like 6 digits long, and people couldn't find their tickets, or they couldn't hear us call out the numbers. I mean, nobody usually has any problem hearing my voice, okay, in a place. Or they'd all get confused, or some of them will start having a little conversation while you're doing this, and they miss, what was that again? And it took a whole heck of a lot longer than it should have. And I said, okay, this year, I'm going to have everybody write their name on the back of their ticket first. Then we'll just pull it out and we'll do it by name. And people should know their name. No, they don't know their name. I couldn't believe it. Oh, well, my
for the most
God.
part, they did. But then
I asked them. Now, we had duplicate first names, right? We had several people with the same first name. So I told everybody, okay, put your first name and at least your last initial. Because, you know, we had a couple of Shirleys, for example. So we, if I call out Shirley, which Shirley are we talking about? And we wouldn't have known because they don't have a copy of the ticket that they put in. We're not matching numbers, right? So it was moving along quite nicely until we hit this one. And I said the person's name and their last initial. That's what on it. No, nobody. Nobody's owing up to it. That's them. Finally.
And there was a person in there that
had the same first, had that first name.
First name and first initial, right?
So I pulled again, and I got another person with the same first name, but this time had their last name, but the first initial of their last name was with a B. So I'm saying, we don't have two of this person with this first name. This has to be, and I said to her, this has to be you. No.
That's not me.
That's not me. I put my last name on it. I look at them and go, so who the hell is this person then? Nothing. It turned out it was her. Oh, I forgot. And it went downhill from there. So we're getting to the last three auction items. And of course, names are being repeated, right? And that was easy. I'd like, yeah, you've already won. Okay, you've already won. I keep digging and jigging, and I'm getting the same names. I'm not getting any others. And then out of the blue, I said, okay, who hasn't gotten something yet, right? So two people. I said, stand up. Stand up if you have not gotten an auction prize. So two people stand up, but I've got three left, and I had exactly the right number. So then they all accused me because I'm sorry, and this is sexist, but it's not. It's the truth. It's always the fault of the guy when things go awry. The women say, well, you can miscount it. I didn't count it. Donna did. Donna told me. Well, you've included yourselves in it. No. Well, you included Donna. No. The three of us purposely weren't in the auction.
Well, there was also one person missing.
And yeah, then suddenly someone says, where's Bonnie? And I was pulling names out of these bags, and I didn't see a Bonnie in any of those. But there was an empty spot. Sewing machine was there and fabric and everything. And this was after dinner, but there was no Bonnie. And we're thinking, where is it? Well, they were all concerned because Bonnie had to get a prize too, right? That's fine. But also Bonnie didn't participate in the auction because there's no tickets in there. So I'm thinking, well, maybe Bonnie didn't want to be part of this. For whatever reason, that's fine. But no problem. We've got a prize. She can have a prize. But nobody, I said, well, does somebody know Bonnie? Figuring she's got a friend there with her. No. Bonnie was on her own. Nobody knew Bonnie. Nobody knew where Bonnie went. And then I'm getting a little concerned. I said to Donna, maybe we should check on her. Maybe Bonnie's dead in a ditch somewhere. Or she's sick. Maybe whatever. So we set those prizes aside. I let the other two people come up. They picked what they wanted. They're all happy as a bug in a rug. And off they went. Well, Bonnie showed up this morning early when I was there. And immediately, some of them were there. There's Bonnie! There's Bonnie! Give her prize! There's Bonnie! I'd like to give you all a kick in the head. But, I'm refraining. I said, Bonnie, we missed you last night. It's not what I'm saying in my head. And I think most of you know me well enough to know exactly what I'm saying in my head. But I go, Bonnie, you got a prize. And you can pick. Actually, there's a couple of other stray ones. So she'd have a choice. I just put them all and says, pick something from the auction. And I said, what happened to you? Like, were you? Oh, well, I felt really tired after I ate. So she said, after we had dinner. So I just went back to my room and went to bed. Okay. All right. We thought you were dead, but glad to see you're not. So whatever.
Hi, Dana.
Dana. Oh, hi, Dana. So anyways, we got through that, but I don't know what the solution is. Well, we have a solution. We'll talk about that in a bit. So anyways, they liked the show. I put this slideshow together with pictures I'd taken of them all, and I put little funny captions on them. They seem to really like that as well. So, yeah. So that's how the weekend went. But I said I did some shopping. So Walter didn't shop or buy anything, but I did. So here's what I got. I got some charm packs. Charm pack. Charm pack. Charm pack. I love charm packs. Charm pack. Charm pack. Donna made us all aprons and gave them to us, part of the swag. And she said she'll never do this again. And I knew she was making these on her embroidery machine. They're aprons. They're quite nice. So here it is, you know. And I think I will use it as well. But, you know, she did all this embroidery, and she made like about 30 of these suckers. And she ran into a lot of problems making them. And I could have told her that. As soon as you try to do multiple things on your embroidery machine, just the time alone that it takes is, you know, time consuming. But you know your embroidery machine is going to give you hell. And we were trying to analyze it because we were looking at her stitches on the back. And she's been having trouble with this particular embroidery machine. She wants to replace it. And we troubleshot with her about the problems, but she seemed to have already done those troubleshooting things, so it wasn't any of those. But that was really nice of her to do that. So that was one thing she gave us. That wasn't a purchase. I bought a design wall. It's still in the bag. It's Fons and Porter. Now here's irony. We went to the dollar store last week, and I said, I'm going to get one of those cheap vinyl tablecloths with flannel on the back, because I don't have any place for a design wall, but I could hang something like that up on my bookshelf as a temporary solution. Then they had this one, and Donna uses this too. It's by Fons and Porter. Same kind of principle, but I think a little better quality. So I bought that. It better be better quality because it cost me $44.40 for it. Aren't these pretty? They're K Facet, but it's a fat quarter bundle. Actually, this was a gift. Okay, this was a gift from Donna for the things that we had done. And this was a gift too, and it's a box of Floriani. Trending colors. It's embroidery threads. I think there's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, 10. 10 embroidery threads. And you know me and machine embroidery, so yeah. So that was, I said to her, you don't have to do that, Donna. You know, we did this. We weren't doing this to be paid or anything. We just did it because we were going to be there and we wanted to have a good time and help her out. So, but that was really nice of her. Now, I did get some books because I went through. Now, I bought some of these books. The other books were from Donna's collection. I bought this one, Fat Quarter Friendly Quilts, and I'm going to talk about these on my Idiot Quilter episode later in more detail. Simply Fat Quarters. Well, there's my ruler. Those two I bought, and then these ones came from her stash. This one's jackets, quilted jackets and vests. It's kind of ladies, but I said to Walter, we might be able to adapt it for men's. So we'll see. And then there's just a couple of other quilting books with interesting things in them too. So we got that. I don't know how I got this. Oh, she was handing this out, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Okay, remember when we were talking about ugly fabric on So Chatty? I don't know. Well, I'm not sure if it's all, yeah, it's all pretty much ugly. It's cowboy theme or something in cartoonish kind of way. I don't know. But it actually, oh, it's flannel. I didn't realize it was flannel. That's why she gave it out, because no one was buying it in the store.
I don't think it's flannel.
I think it is flannel.
No, it's not. It's not flannel. No, it's not.
No,
flannel.
maybe not.
I know what flannel feels like. It's not flannel.
Doesn't feel like quilting cotton either.
It does.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Oh, yeah. And I picked this up, too. This was in her stash of things. It's an applique thing for Halloween. And it's got the pieces are already pre-cut for it. So I thought, well, what the heck. Oh, and one lady made this. Pull in here a little bit. It is a needle minder. It's basically, you stick a little needle book. So you see it's got this on it. And you open it up. And it has these little pages made with felt. And you stick your needles and things in it. I'll never use it. It's got this cute little brush, though. It's supposed to be a cleaning brush. I think you just use it up your nose. But I mean, swabbing for a COVID test kind of thing. But that was really nice of her to make all of those and hand them out. So that was kind of cool. And then the bag, the swag bag. And I won't go through everything because it's boring. Like, okay, these are garbage. These are for sticking through the spool, or the hole in the spool of thread, and you put a bobbin on it, and you keep your bobbin with the same color. They break. Ask me how I know. These are also for your bobbins, for keeping the thread from falling off. They sort of work, but they're a pain in the ass to use. Ask me how I know. These are a similar variation on a theme. You stick them in the top of your spool of thread, and a bobbin fits over top of it. And yeah, it's dumb. These are good. These are like knockoff Wonder Clips, and I use those. So those ones are okay. I like that. Safety pins. Can you have too many? Yes. Oh, another seam ripper. Oh my God. Like as if I don't have a lot of seam rippers, but you know, you never know. One for every room in the house. This is one of these air erasable markers that may or may not disappear within a lifetime. When you use it. Ask me how I know. These are okay. These are little grippy things you put on the back of your rulers. They're little acrylic rubbery things, and it keeps your ruler from slipping on your fabric. And I do use these. And then we got a little pamphlet, which I have about 4 of these already, about needles. And another one about something. Oh no, that's machine needles. This one is Gutermann thread. Got a pen. That's always good. This is actually one from Ultimate Sewing. Shirley had given us one of these before, but it's kind of neat because it's got a little ruler on it and it's got a level in it. So you know. There's
and
so
actually,
many. What?
The top screws off and you get a screwdriver too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's a screwdriver in the top.
Oh. Well, how long have we had ours?
Actually, it's got a flat head on one side and a Phillips one on the
I
other
didn't
side.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. That's interesting. And then this little box with their logo on it is for keeping your spent needles in. So, you know, you don't throw your needles, your old needles in the garbage because, you know, you'll kill somebody. But I put them in old pill bottles and label them, and then you can throw them out into recycling. But this is the same idea, just a little box. It's kind of cute. I think this is actually a box that medication comes in, and I think the owner of the store gets these because she suffers from migraines, and so she saves them, and that's what they. But I mean, repurpose, reuse, not a bad idea. So yeah, that's what the goodies. Which I said, you know, some of this stuff is, well, to me. But what do you want? It's free. So, you know, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, sort of thing. But I didn't know about that. That's just to raise this pen up into a new level.
Yeah, I was showing them at the retreat at Screwdriver.
Well, you never showed me that. I didn't have a clue.
No. Yeah, I knew it because Shirley showed me it.
Well, she
Shirley
didn't
from the
show
shop.
me.
Yeah, you were standing right next to me.
Well, I wasn't paying attention. There's other things to look at. Yeah, I agree, Kathy. The pen is the best. Yeah. Barb says she uses those brushes to clean out a sewing machine. Yeah, I've never used one quite like that, but I'll try it. If you don't want your Floriani gift, I would really like. Oh no, Dana.
No, I'm
Dana.
sure that will come to
Yes.
good use.
No. That is mine. Nah, you're not getting it. Oh, and Dana's got. She has 2 of the Fons Porter design walls. So Donna says she really likes them, and I've seen them before. I've just never ever bought one, but yeah. So I figured it would be good to have. So we got a whole lot of stuff now. And the other thing was, we had a little competition. It was how I got rid of all my scraps. I made up 40 bags, paper bags, with handfuls of scraps in them from Walter's stash and my stash. And it was a challenge. They had to create, from the scraps in the bag, a 6, 8-inch, or 10-inch block. And then when they were done, they gave them to me. There was a deadline for it. I pinned them up on a bulletin board,
put a bag underneath them with a number on it, and everybody got so many tickets, and sort of like the auction, that you use the tickets to vote for your favorite blocks, and the ones that got the highest number of tickets got a trophy. And I showed you those that I'd made, pincushion trophies, right? So I asked them if I could have their blocks, and they let me have them because I'm going to take them and make them into a scrappy little, I was thinking of a quilt, but there's not a lot of them here. Maybe a wall hanging of some sort, and take it down to Ultimate Sewing when I get it done. And they can, if they want, put it on display to advertise, that they had the retreat, and this is something we did at the retreat. You might want to come to the next one or something like that. So I'll just show you, because they had no choice in the scraps that they got. And it was random colors, random pieces. They were cut in weird shapes and the whole bit. And they came up with some interesting things. So here's one. This one, the person actually did. Maybe this isn't the one with 4. No, this is just one as well. Very scrappy. This is like something I would do, using up scraps. This one's a more traditional design, but very nice. And I love the way that the butterfly fabric was used in that. Now this one is very creative. They did some fussy cutting, and it's a dog. And they've made actually a picture kind of a thing. And they did some thread painting around with it too. I really like this one. I thought it was a cute idea. And similarly with this one, and this one's funny because look at it, she's got a cat in it, but look at the cat. The rear end of the cat's on one end of the house and the front of the cat's on the other. And she fussy cut that out, some scraps and everything. I thought that was really creative. This one did sort of a wonky block with a piece from some dog fabric in there. I never owned any dog fabric.
Yeah, I had that dog, though. It says I love my dog. Remember I got it for Karen?
Oh, that's right, yeah. Now, this one is very artistic because they created a whole landscape kind of a thing. Bring it up a little closer so you can see. I thought that was like little mountains in the background, and then it looks like it's sort of a cactus in the foreground and everything. I thought that was really cute. Another wonky block. Actually, there were 4 of these that sort of went together, but the one who created these took 2 of them home with her. She had lots of time on her hands.
Actually, no, that was
or was
Ted
that or was that Ted? Was that Ted's?
Yeah.
Oh, with the dog thing. Yeah, that was different. I guess they took the other ones too. So.
Yeah.
And this one's a little bit more traditional. It's a windmill. That's what they call the block. Another one that got a little bit artistic with the printed fabric in the center. Oh, it was these ones. This was a set of 4 wonky ones. They took 2 of them home, left me with the other 2. So and actually this one cheated. Those are my blocks. I'm pretty sure those were my blocks of something that, and they were cut. I'd cut them up or something and thrown them in there. Yeah. And I think they just put the 2 pieces together. I think. Yeah, it had to be. Because you wouldn't make just like that half a star and do that. That's what they did. They put them together. But this is the one that won. The people liked the most. And you can see why. Look at it. Look at those little tiny squares. Look at the size of them. Now, there is a technique this person used to create those. They didn't cut out individual squares. They did sort of a strip piecing and cut it down, and it came out this way and everything. But nevertheless, and the other thing that's really impressive is the pressing on the back of it. And if you're not a quilter, you won't probably appreciate this, but all of the seams are going the way they should go to make this whole block lay flat. That's a lot of work for one little tiny 8-inch block.
So said that was made by Bonnie.
Who said it was made by
Barb Olson? Barb Olson, Bonnie. Well, I don't know. Maybe she was talking about something else.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, this was actually I can picture the lady in my mind, but I can't remember what her name is now. But this one, really nice. And in fact, the other guy that was there, Ted, he came up to me. He says, would you mind if I ask her if I can buy that from her? Because he really wanted it. And I said, I don't care. You can go ahead. And she said, well, no, Steve wants it to put in the quilt. But then she secretly made him another one, and gave it to him as well. So he was really happy about that. That was really nice of her to do that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think they liked the scrap block challenge. Not everybody took part in it, but, that's okay. They want to do their own sewing too, so they want to eat into their time doing this kind of thing. But it was fun. That worked out okay.
Our president says the one was a cheater.
Which, yeah, well, there were lots of cheaters there. I encouraged it, actually. So, I'm just seeing what people are saying here. Someone, the way out, Larkin Rose. Okay.
That is a someone I have to get rid of. Removed. Okay. That's probably a porn site. That one that came up there. So anyways, yeah. So what else can we tell you about the retreat before we talk about it? Okay. I mentioned at the very beginning of this that this is probably our last retreat. Not because we had a bad time at this one, but we both came to the conclusion that we prefer virtual retreats. And the main reason for that is you don't have to lug anything.
Yeah, it was a real pain to have to lug all that stuff with us.
The stuff is heavy, very heavy. Walter wrecked my sewing bag, my sewing machine bag. Yeah, well, it was a little overloaded. He doesn't know his own strength. Well, doesn't have any. But, yeah. But no, I already had a problem with that bag anyway, so no big deal. But that's the whole problem. We had a car packed full to the rafters. Did we need to take everything that we took?
Most of it,
yeah.
There's only a couple items that we may not have had to take, but pretty much everything else we pretty much had to take.
Yeah. Now I did take a laptop with me, but that didn't take up much room. But I took my projector, my digital projector, and a screen, because we didn't know how the facilities would work there, and we needed those to show things. Well, it turned out they had a projector all hooked up, great spot, no problem. I plugged my laptop into it, worked like a charm. And they had a huge screen, bigger than the portable screen that we were taking, and the whole bed. So that would have given us a little bit more room in the car, but not that took up a lot of space. We took our own chairs, our stools, like Walter's sitting on one right now, which is my sewing chair, because, in this facility, they have your banquet hall type chairs, and they're no good for you when you're sitting for hours sewing, because I was in pain the first night. I was in severe pain.
Yeah, and you were sitting on your own stool.
And I was sitting on my own stool. But I learned a couple of things. I mean, there is ergonomics to be considered when you're sewing for that long, and I know about it. I've read some things and seen. There was a lady when I used to belong to the guild. She came and she spoke to the guild about correct posture, how to position your cutting tables at the right height, and your sewing machine, and everything like that, to alleviate shoulder pain, back pain, neck pain, that kind of stuff. And I do try to do that, but this was giving me a lot of pain. So one lady suggested to me, she says, yeah, she had the same problem, but she found that if she hiked her chair up higher, she says, we tend to sit too low to our sewing machine, but we should be above it. And that actually I found did work. But Donna has a very expensive sewing chair that Janome makes. Actually it's made by Arrow, but Janome sells them. They're about Shirley sells them at the store for about $330 a piece. And I've seen them, and I've thought about it, but that's a lot of money to spend for it. But I sat in Donna's, and yes, it does make a difference. Now, I didn't sit in it for a whole day and try it out, but she swore by it. And it's adjustable. and it pushes you forward. The back is on it on such a space that it pushes you forward and up, and it doesn't cut into your legs like down below on the edge of it. So I am seriously thinking of going over to Ultimate Sewing this week and picking one up, because I like to sew, but I'm in pain after a few hours for it. And even though I get up and try to stretch or move around from it, but Friday or Thursday night, I was in a lot of pain. Thank God I took the Aleve with me. Should have taken the special gummies, but didn't. We forgot them. But anyway, so that's one thing that I learned on the weekend. But it's just lugging everything. And then if you forget something, well, you can borrow other people's stuff. They will lend it, but never borrow or lend or be. And to be honest, there were some people in the group, and there's always going to be, that I would have liked to have had a mute button for. It's one thing about virtual, if you don't want to listen to somebody, you can turn off your speakers, but when you're in a hall with everybody else, you can't.
Or people coming around hovering for a lengthy time.
Yeah, and getting you off topic and stuff like that. So, it's one thing to be social. It's another thing to be a pain in the ass. And then you get the ones who just bitch about everything. Sorry, I used the B word, but it's true. There was one lady there that it didn't matter what they served her.
For dinner,
she had to complain. And she actually upset one of the ladies at our table. She didn't, I don't think her intent was to upset her, but the lady was telling a story that this other woman did not think was appropriate at a dinner table, and she stated that. Well, this other lady didn't realize that, and it kind of upset her because she thought she had done something really bad and terrible. And this particular lady that was upset is very sensitive to things like that. And I've been in classes with her before, and I felt bad for her because she blamed herself. But the other lady could have been kinder about the way she said it. She was basically being a bitch. Everything was about her. And I mean, she was a nasty old bag. Okay, I've said it. There it is. She was a nasty old bag. So, in fact, I almost went after her at one point, especially when she did this to this other woman, kind of a thing. But I did hold back a little bit better because it probably would have made a bad situation worse. So I did bite my tongue, which for me is not something I do very often because, but you see, if we've been on virtual, this would not have been an issue at all. So given what we took and things like that, what do you think? What was your overall?
I mean, I liked the in-person thing that you actually got to see the people and stuff like that. But I mean, there's an underlying discomfort with the pandemic thing. But I mean, if you took that away, I didn't really feel it was worth lugging all the stuff with me to do.
And there's the expense.
There was the expense.
It cost us almost $1,000.
The food was okay, but it wasn't great. And there wasn't really any selection. Like, I mean, you got they only had one selection for food at night or at lunch, and you could either eat it or not.
Yeah.
So if you didn't like what was being served, it wasn't like you could say, I don't know if there was an option to get something else. So then there was that, and I mean, sleeping arrangements was okay, but it wasn't exactly the most comfortable.
No. Well, we
so
knew
like
that,
Kathy
though.
Darla says, you don't have to lug. You get to sleep in your own bed, and you can eat
food you know you like,
and
don't have to worry about forgetting anything. Yeah, exactly. Now, if this had been pre-COVID days, I wouldn't necessarily have agreed with that. I would have said, oh, in-person ones are so much more fun. It's like a little vacation. You're doing all this stuff. You're amongst other people that enjoy this kind of stuff as well. But since doing virtual retreats of my own and going on other virtual retreats and that, I prefer the virtual retreat from it all. I know it's not for everybody, but for me, that's
Yeah, I like
true.
the fact that I don't have to move anything. All my stuff's right where it is. I can't forget anything because it's at home. I may not be able to find it,
Yeah, well,
but I can't forget it. And you do get to meet a whole variety of people that you wouldn't normally see. Like here,
yeah.
you only see people that are local to you. On virtual, you get to talk to people from all over the place.
All over the place, all around the world, and that kind of thing. Yeah. Um, I mean, there are some disadvantages to virtual, like when it comes to like on the ones that I run, like prizes for people. I have to do it digitally. I can't give people a swag bag of stuff, on that. So yeah. If you wanted to do some purchasing of things, because often at retreats they will have a local store or something, if it's not sponsored by an actual shop itself like this one was, come in and have a little store set up. And I don't know about other people, but when I'm at something like that, I'm always in the mood to shop. Whether I need anything or not, I'm in the mood to shop.
Well, and there's no really outlay of unless somebody's charging for the online retreat. There isn't really any outlay of cash by people to attend, where you do if you go on a physical retreat. Now, some people may want the physical retreat because they get a chance to get away from their home life.
Especially the ladies, because you hear them say, I don't have to cook this weekend. Somebody else is cooking for me. I can get my sewing done. I'm not being interrupted by my husband or kids, if they have any, or whatever around like that. So they like it for that reason. Whereas if you go virtual, well, you still have those interruptions. And I know I've seen it on there. They're busy working away and you see them on there, and then somebody walks into the room and they go, I'm on a retreat, get out of here. Kind of a thing. Or what do you want? Kind of a deal. So I get that with them as well. So yeah. But what are people saying here? Barb says I wouldn't be able to sew with all the noise and distraction. Yes. Oh, and that is something else too. So for give you an example, you're talking about distraction. Okay. I had the ability to be able to put music on, playing in the background, a little white noise kind of a thing. But I didn't volunteer to do that because I knew as soon as you do that, I don't like that kind of music. I want this. Or it's too loud, or it's not loud enough. And it just opens up a whole can of worms. So I didn't bother. But when I was setting up the projector and everything for the Saturday night, on Saturday afternoon, I had my laptop up there and speakers, and someone said, well, it would be nice to have a little music in the background. And I said, well, if everybody agrees to it, I can make it happen. Well, nobody seemed to object. So I made it happen. And I said, what kind of music do you want? And someone said, well, how about the 80s or something like that? And I thought, okay, fine, because, most of us pretty much remember the 80s, right? And it was, we were younger. So yeah, why not? So I did. I had it on low, and I checked with everybody to make sure that, it wasn't a disruption. Well, I came back a few hours later or something. I forget what happened. And the music was turned off. And somebody said to it, oh no, I came back in after we had done our performance. I'd asked them if they want the music back on, and they said yes. Came back in, music was off. Now I thought at first I was doing Amazon music on my computer, and I thought, well, maybe I didn't put it on shuffle or whatever, so it finished after one song. So I said to one of the ladies sitting closest to where the sound system was, I said, did it just turn itself off? And I got this nondescript answer. Well, I said, or did somebody turn it off? Because I thought, well, somebody turned it off, then obviously there's a problem. So fine. And she said, oh, I don't know. It just stopped. Liar. Then I found out because the hostess with the mostest, Donna, says to me, she says, I turned it off. She says, I've got a bit of a headache. And this, and it was just, once I get over this a little bit, we can put it back. And I says, not a problem, Donna. I'll just pack it up, because basically I have learned over the years, it doesn't matter. Some people will be fine with it. Other people will not be. And it's all about them. So just leave it. So I did. But, there was a fair amount of that. If you're on a virtual, you don't get that. The only thing you get on virtual is when somebody's dog or their grandkid is running into the room and they forget to mute. And then, as the host of it, they can mute that person's microphone. I mean, I don't know. I caught myself all weekend long wishing I had a big mute button when they come over, because there was one lady who loved to be social. She didn't sew a thing. In all the days we were there, she just traveled from table to table and talked stories and went on. And you would try, it was the kind of person where you start off and you're really polite. Oh yeah, that's interesting. And so you engage in the conversation for a bit and you figure, this will go on for 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes or something, and then you'll get back to work. No. So then you sort of slowly start turning your back on her and start, organizing thing. And, most people will get the hint, like, oh, you want to do some work. Well, great, nice talking to you. I'll talk to you later, kind of a thing. No, this one just tells you more and more and more. And she demands all of your attention while she's doing this. And it gets to the point where you just want to go mute with a big rubber hammer right between the eyes. But no, you can't. And she just doesn't get it. So, yeah, on a virtual, you can just turn off the speaker. Not worry about it at all. But anyways, you do get that. It takes all kinds,
I
right?
found that I tend to do more on a virtual because you can listen to people talk in the background type of thing, right? And you can too at a retreat. But I found that, especially when somebody comes over and engages you or something like that, conversation, you can't very well just sort of keep sewing type of thing. And I found I didn't get as much done, and I think it actually led me to make a mistake too.
Yeah. Well, I know I made a couple of mistakes, and it was because I was distracted with it. But then again, I can make mistakes when I'm not distracted, so maybe it wasn't. But I find I'm more productive on a virtual one than I am at. Well, I'm also more comfortable in my own environment. Because now, not so much this time, but I remember the first time I went to a retreat and I had just started quilting, and I kind of figured, okay, I'm going to be amongst a lot of people who are, really good quilters, and I don't want them to see what I'm doing because I'm going to make mistakes and it's not going to be perfect, the kind of thing. I did get over that as time went by. But my first one, I was very self-conscious of that, and I didn't want people to see anything. But I have to say, most time, people were very, very nice. They would, be supportive and everything, and they'd say, how long have you been quilting? I say, well, this is about my first retreat and a whole bit. And, oh, great, And they were good with, if I had a question, I could go to them, and I learned things from it. But I'm not really self-conscious anymore when I go to a retreat, because I have enough confidence in my ability. But nevertheless, I don't like people hanging over my shoulder. And then they ask you 1,000 questions. Well, who does that pattern? Where did you get that pattern? What's the fabric line that you're using? How much did that cost in the fabric line? How much of this do you need for that? I don't know. I don't care.
I had 3 people ask me why I was sewing shirts. I said, because I don't like doing quilts. and a couple of them asked me, well, what do you do with the shirts? Do you sell them?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going, well, no, I make them for myself and I make them for Steve.
What is it with people when you make something? I got the same thing. We were talking about long arms, and I had mentioned my long arm. And to answer Fidel's question from way back at the beginning, nope, the robotics have not yet come, Fidel. It'll be 8 weeks come April the 11th, so I'm waiting to see, because they told me it would be maybe 8 weeks. And if I don't hear anything from them by the 11th of April, then I'll just send off an email and say, do you have any idea when I'm getting this? It's okay. I'm not in a terrible rush anyways with it. So I don't have it. But we're talking about long arms and stuff. And when I said, well, yeah, I had a long arm with that. Oh, they said, are you going to start a business? Oh, now you can quilt for other people and charge and make some money to recover your cost. What it cost you for the long arm. And I go, no, I'm not going to do that, because if I start a business, one, I'm not good enough to charge to do people's quilts. And second of all, when you start it as a business, when it's a hobby, it's no longer fun. And not doing that. And they look at you as though, but isn't that the natural progression? You got a long arm, so you must, make money from it. And that's what they were doing with you about the shirts.
Well, not only that, I said, well, by the time I buy the fabric, and it takes me a while to make these, I'm not making any money on them if I have to charge.
Well, that's the other thing. And they all want to know what you do with your quilts. But that comes more from non-quilters, and we've talked about that before. Well, why don't you sell them? Well, sure, I will. $5,000, please. What do you mean $5,000? I'm serious. My materials, my time, everything else, the effort that I put into it, to me, that's a $5,000 quilt. Pay up. You want it? You can have it. $5,000. Thank you. But just see what people are saying here. Cheryl says there's always one at a retreat that needs a mute button. Oh, yeah. Actually, there was kind of more than one.
Yeah.
Some of them get... okay. Another sexist comment sounding, but it's the truth. When ladies get together and there aren't any men around, there is a lot of hooting and hollering going on. When men get together, not so much. Not so much. I'm sorry. It's true.
There's a lot of man bashing talk too.
Oh my God, yes. It's like, hello, we are here. If we started to bash women, okay? If we start to bash women in that environment, we would be told in no uncertain terms what we could do and where we could go, okay? So you keep your mouth shut. But they all think it's okay to bash men. And this is my other reason why I don't think I'll be going to another retreat. Not one with where the majority of the people are ladies. And that's the reason why. Because as soon as I spent a great deal of time planning the stuff that went into this, and you know that because I've talked about it, they got me really frustrated and they got me really angry during the Saturday night performance with that auction and the whole bit. Because they're all shouting orders at me. How I should do this, how I should do that. Well, if you've got great ideas on how to do something, why didn't you do it? Because you didn't do it because you didn't want to make the effort to do it. It would have been effort for you. And I'm sorry if that hurt somebody's feelings on here, but that's exactly what it was. I did it. So shut the up with it. And they knew I was angry at that point, because I probably had this look on my face that used to kill children in the classroom with it. Fire.
Well, yeah, it's like when you were explaining the stuff about the tickets, and then people would jump to conclusions and say, well, and then you do this. And before you had finished.
Yeah, and I said to them, I did what elementary school teachers do. Your eyes here, your ears here, your mouth shut. And there was one woman. I thought about it afterwards, and I could rationalize why she was a little confused. But at the moment, it wasn't. I had told them about the tickets for the auction, and they had numbers on them. They had, a duplicate number. You know how you get the tickets, and a lot of times you rip the ticket in half, and half the ticket goes one place, and you hang on to the other ticket, as and they call out your number because they've got that one half, right? I said to them, they were getting strips of tickets they were earning. I said, now what you need to do is you need to separate your tickets. Then write your name on the back of each ticket. And this woman said, so she said, well, yeah, so we ripped them in half. No, I told you that's not how we're doing it. I'd already explained that before I said what I just told you. I said, and the whole bit. And I'm going, like, hello, short bus is outside. Get on it. It's taking you home or to an institution, whatever kind of a thing. And it takes me all my time to, I'm a sarcastic person, and I know that. That's my charm. But it takes me all my time not to just basically say what I'm absolutely thinking, which is you should die now. You are a waste of oxygen. But I don't. Okay? I do hold back on that. So anyways, but then when you're doing stuff, they want to change the rules. I made it very simple for everything we're doing, but there's always a few of them that want to take control. But they are the same people who are full of criticism and suggestions, but would never ever put their money where their mouth is and actually go ahead and do something. So as I tell them, it's my sandbox, my rules, okay, in here. But there were times, there were moments, you know, again, in a virtual environment, as a host, I have the power of the mute button. Mute. I'm sorry. Bye-bye. Oops, technical failure. You're gone.
Now, I can see in a physical retreat, if you go with 3 friends, the 3 of you all sit together and you can all gab to each other type of thing within your own group. Whereas on a virtual retreat, you may not be as easily to be able to do that.
Yeah. So let's see. Teresa says this is going back to about the lady at the table saying what she said. Next time, do say something. Just be a spoon, one who stirs things up. Yeah, well, I don't need to think about that. It usually happens. Under the Needle, Shonda did my first virtual retreat and I loved it. I still want to try an in-person one in the future. Yeah, I saw your episode too where you talked about that. Teresa says, I had a friend, past tense, who would walk up to a young couple in a restaurant and ask if they were on their first date. After that happened once, I moved on. Yeah, sometimes it's inappropriate questions. Oh, and that's the other thing they were doing too. Yes, they know we're gay, but don't apply what you would apply. Like, you see, Walter is the calm, sedate, reasonable individual. I'm the nut job, okay, all the time. And I get so sick and tired of that because he's a bastard. And, live with him and you'll figure it out. But all the women love Walter because he's so kind and so nice. And I say, yeah, it's snarky. But so anything that I say or do, it's like I'm the opposite of whatever they think he is. Yeah, if the truth be told. But anyways, not that that's really not something that bothers me because that's just the way it is, kind of a deal. But they'll ask you questions that I don't think they would ask other people. They'll ask us for advice about things because we're gay, so we would know about window dressings. Yeah, that's how we earned the toaster oven, by picking out the right color scheme for our house. But, you weren't there. I had one woman say, well, I bet you, she says, your house is probably very, very nice inside. Because we're gay? Well, it is very nice. And we are gay. So, maybe she was right. But anyways, Kathy says, I teach. The co-teacher hears that I quilt and asks what. I said, no. Oh, like make them something, trying to commission you or whatever. Yeah. Cheryl says, we don't man bash because we have a wonderful guy that comes to the retreat. Well, he's lucky. It's not that they're man bashing us directly because, well, they should know better. But because you think I'm going to let that get by. But it's what they say about their husbands. And then they extend that to all men. And yeah, I get it. And some of it is just funny. It's just a joke, and that's fine. But some of them are not being a joke, and it's like we're invisible. Hello. But what I'm saying is there's a double standard. If we were start to complain about women, the whole room would turn on us, like right there. So, we don't go there at all. Even if I make a comment about, like someone said something about not listening to or something, or having selective hearing. Someone said that they use the expression, well, her husband, he has selective hearing. I says all men have selective hearing, because we heard you the first time, but we don't acknowledge it after that. We don't care. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Opened up a little can of worms there, didn't I? Yep. All right.
His wife's there too, so.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, well, that was a double whammy. But anyways, I guess the bottom line is, we were talking about this, and it was kind of interesting because people said, we'll see you at the next one. Don't think so. I guess it was something I did for a while, that we did for a while. We've done that. I don't want to do them anymore.
yeah,
Unless
it's
it's
a lot
an
of
old
work.
man's retreat.
It's a lot of work, and I just, this time I really just didn't get any enjoyment out of it. So.
No, it wasn't. In fact, I was getting a headache, and I think part of the on the Saturday night, after 2 days of
Probably
this crowd,
the most of it was having to lug the stuff up there.
yeah,
And having to lug it back again. And then finding, like you, for instance, that you didn't have a reference to what you were working on here.
well, yeah, that was
Like,
frustrating.
I mean, that was frustrating. You kind of forgot.
Well, that was my fault. but-
Kind of forgot something kind of major.
Yeah,
Right. So, and that's frustrating. And even with me, I mean, I tend to be semi-disorganized anyway. But I mean, I had 2 bags with tools in it, and sometimes my tools were in one bag, and sometimes they were in the other bag, or sometimes I left them out on the table. And because it was a foreign environment to me, I found that sometimes I was searching around for stuff that I needed to use. So.
yeah, and well, Patsy says it's hard to return to something you don't enjoy. I'm not going to say I didn't, that I hated it.
No. Like, I mean, when we went previous years, we enjoyed it, but we didn't know anything else. Like, there wasn't really a virtual.
No,
people weren't
yeah.
doing virtual retreats, right? So we didn't really have anything to compare to, right? Whereas now we have something to compare to. And I like the virtual format a little better. And the main reason is that I don't have to lug the equipment with me. That's the biggest reason, biggest thing. Now, maybe if, it's hard to say. Maybe if we knew a whole bunch of people that we really liked and were going, we might go to a physical retreat. But a lot of the people that were there were not really people we really knew that well, other than
we may have been a few of them we'd been in the same class with over time, and or we've seen them at the store and things like that. And I don't want anybody to think that we're bashing the people that were at this. Not. Most of the people were lovely. They were fine.
I mean, the one thing that is nice that when you go to a physical retreat is that you can see what other people are working on, and see, you might get some techniques that they're doing. You can get more of a demonstration as to what techniques they're doing.
You learn
stuff
something
like that.
You learn something. I mean, but I can learn something from virtual too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're at that stage now. The retreats, when I first started quilting and that, were a novelty. I'd never been to anything like that, and it was new and it was exciting. It's why I don't take classes anymore, either. Not because I know everything, but I don't take classes because I don't enjoy lugging, and that's a lot less stuff I have to take to a class. But I don't enjoy it. I'd rather be at home doing it, Now, I've never really taken any online classes, but also I'm finding that there isn't a heck of a lot new for me to learn from these classes that I'm interested in. There's always stuff to learn, yes, but most of the time I can figure out the pattern on my own. Now, if it was a special technique or something like that, that's a different situation. So it's COVID. It's what COVID has done to me. It's altered my way of looking at social like gatherings.
The Crafty Dart says you can use your favorite machine at home.
Yeah.
I got to meet a New York fashion designer who quilted as a hobby and would not happen on a retreat near me.
Yeah, exactly. That's true too. I mean, look, on my last retreat, I had Kate from the last homely house come and speak to us in the whole bit. She's in the UK. I would never have met her at a physical retreat here in our area at all. And also physical retreats too, unless they are really huge ones and they're charging a lot of money, they're not going to get in a guest speaker or someone to demo something that's a big name because they just can't afford it. So, if that's the kind of thing you're looking for. I mean, sure, you could go to something like at QuiltCon or something like that where they have, classes that you can attend and everything, and they will have big names there, and you will pay a big price for it as well. And you'll be in a room with about 50, 60, 70, maybe more people, and either listening to them, but that's a totally different ball game. That's not a retreat. That's a convention, kind of a thing. Eddie says, Steve, 62 people watching and 19 thumbs up. You need to up your thumbs up the game. Okay. Eddie says, you got to give me more thumbs up. You got to give us more thumbs up, more likes. Okay. I'll wait.
Yeah, as it is,
We're
I
waiting.
took my sewing machine and my serger with me, and but I usually like to use the cover stitch machine for my hems, and I didn't take the cover stitch machine with me, so
Yeah. Hi, Flories or Floors, if I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Yeah. So overall, how do you sum this up? It was fun to a point. I got some stuff done. That was okay. I learned a few things. You got some stuff done.
mm-hmm.
Did you learn anything?
Maybe a few. I don't know. Not really.
Oh, you know everything.
No,
Okay, so
I don't know. I may have learned a few things, like not who I don't like, but no, I'm just kidding. No, I can't really say that I really learned too much.
But what I did learn was that, I think I'm done with retreats. I might be willing to go to a man's retreat just to see what it's like, but it has to be someplace close.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'll never go to a retreat. I'll say that right now, after just being on one, I'm not real keen on going to another one right now. But maybe, who knows, my mind, maybe you get an urge to go again sometime in the future, but at the moment, no.
It's the way we feel about it. But anyways, okay, so that's bringing us up to our time. But speaking of retreats and whatnot, this week, Wednesday, Craft and Chat, first Wednesday of the month. So starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the link for it's in the show notes below. All are welcome. Crafters, quilters, sewists, knitters, crocheters, painters, whatever. Everybody's welcome. And those of you that are on the mailing list, I will send you the link personally to you. But for anybody else, it'll be in the show notes for this today. It'll also be in the show notes for my vlog on Monday and for the Idiot Quilter segment on Tuesday. And if you want to be on the mailing list for Craft and Chat or for future retreat, or for pop-up sew days. Haven't had one of those in a while, and it looks like I'm not going to be able to have one of those until after Easter, because next weekend I'm on another virtual retreat, and the weekend after that's Easter. So anyways, but if you want to be on any of those mailing lists or on all of the mailing lists, just drop me a line and let me know. Email address is in the show notes, and I will add you to it. And don't worry, I won't bug you with any other information, and you won't be getting an email from me every other day. So yeah. I'll just see what other people say. Dana says, I'm a fan of Beth Maitland on Young and the Restless, and she too is a follower of Kate. Oh, okay. And Mark Jan says, I would love to try a virtual retreat. Well, I will be having a virtual retreat tail end of September, probably. I haven't decided on the exact date. So watch this space for news of that. So anyways, I'm tired. Walter's probably not. He slept in longer than I did.
No, I'm tired too.
Yeah. And so thanks for joining us. And yeah, we'll see everybody next week, if not sooner than that. And don't forget about Craft and Chat if you're interested this week coming. So have a good one, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye for
Bye-bye.
now.